So in this video, we are going to display how to create channel attributes and attribute sets in Business Central. Keep in mind for testing purposes, we will be using the Magento CSM channel. Now we're going to start off with covering CSM item attribute sets. Select the sales channel code that has already been established using the CSM setup process. To view the channel category list, click Related, Listing, and Channel Categories. Once the Create Category wizard is complete, you should now see the new categories in our list properly tied back to the Business Central item category. Notice that any newly created channel categories do not have external IDs assigned. If these categories corresponding to the existing CSM channel categories, you can manually enter them here. If these categories have not yet been set up in the CSM channel, you can send them to the CSM channel platform. All right, and we're just going to select this channel category. Under Actions in the navigation ribbon, if you select Data Sync, then Show Attributes set, it will display the attribute set that corresponds to a single sales channel category. Another way, we could have manually entered the attribute set directly on the sales channel attribute sets page by clicking Related, Listing, and Channel Item Attribute Sets. Notice that each attribute set is tied to a Business Central item category. Also, that most of the attribute sets we generated do not yet have an external ID. This means that although we define the attribute sets in CSM, we have not communicated them yet to Magento, or they may be a parent category, which will never have a product directly assigned to it. There are a number of ways to send this attribute set information to Magento depending on your preference. The easiest way is to use a function that will just take care of the attribute set as well as the underlying attributes that logically tied to the set. Keep in mind, some information may differ between CSM channels. In WooCommerce for item attribute sets, external code and external caption must be entered in manually to send the communication to WooCommerce. In BigCommerce attribute sets, the concept does not exist. The attribute set sync and send button will do the following for the selected attribute set. That attribute set sync and send button can be found under Actions Channel Integration. The actions that will take place using this function is send the attribute set to Magento if it has not already been sent. If it has an external ID, then the CSM assume that it exists on the Magento site itself. Attribute sets on Magento cannot be changed. Analyze the attributes that are assigned to the Business Central item category. The attribute set is linked to. This also includes any attributes assigned to item category parents of the item category. For each attribute, CSM will ensure that a corresponding attribute is present for this Magento sales channel. Send each attribute to Magento. Attributes that are not currently on Magento will be created on Magento. Attributes that already exist on Magento will be updated. If an attribute is of the option data type, it has certain values that can be specified like red, green, or yellow, yes or no. CSM will also set those up and send those values to Magento. Assign the applicable attributes on Magento to the attribute set on Magento. Now that we have gone through all the functions for attribute set, sync, and send, if you just want to send the attribute set to Magento without all of the other related data, you can press the send to channel button. If you want to send all of the attribute sets for your CSM sales channel to Magento, but not the related data, you can press the send all to channel button. If you want to send all of the attribute sets whose external requires update checkbox is checked to Magento, but not the related data, you can press the send requires update to channel button. Press the sync attributes for set button. This will have CSM just analyze the attributes that are assigned to the Business Central item category the attribute set is linked to. This also includes any attributes assigned to item category parents of the item category. For each attribute, CSM will ensure that a corresponding attribute is present for this Magento sales channel. Note, this action will not send those attributes to Magento quite yet. There is a function to send attributes to Magento on the CSM attributes page. In the Magento admin portal, press the Add Attributes to Set on Channel button to have CSM assign the linked attributes to the attribute set on Magento. Note that only attributes that Magento already knows about will be assigned. Now we're going to move on to CSM Item Attributes. On Magento, attributes are essentially extra information that can be assigned to products. CSM needs to know about the Magento attributes as well and how they relate to Business Central item attributes. It is not necessary to link a CSM attribute to a Business Central item attribute, but they are very powerful if they are. As with many other CSM components, attributes can be created in many ways, and they also have an external ID field, which links it to the corresponding attribute in Magento. CSM create attributes on Magento from CSM attributes, or you can manually link a CSM attribute to a Magento attribute simply by typing in its Magento's ID. You can manually create the attribute on the CSM attribute list page from the sales channel. You can use the sync attributes for a set button for an attribute set to automatically create if they are not already present. Any attributes related to the item category that the attribute set links to. Here you can see an example of a CSM item attribute card. You can manage these attributes by selecting the Navigate, which would be Related, Listing, and then Channel Attributes. You will then be presented with a list of defined channel attributes for the sales channel. If you use the wizard to create your channel category structure, CSM would have already created any Business Central attributes that were assigned to the Business Central item categories. You should not either link them to existing Magento attributes or send them to Magento as a new Magento attribute for use on Magento products. To link to an existing Magento attribute, you will need to find the Magento data for external ID, external code, and external caption. Here is a list of attribute sets that you can find in the Magento admin portal. You can find this by clicking Stores in the left-hand navigation panel and then clicking Attributes Set. We're going to take one of the examples that we covered earlier within the categories. So we're going to click Backpacks. And as you can see, you have your external ID for backpacks in the URL. And also you can view that information within the item category section in the admin portal itself. As you can see, it requires some work to link the Business Central option values to Magento option values. It is much simpler to just have CSM create the proper attribute data, including option values on Magento. The easiest way to do this is to just have CSM send all the attribute data for an attribute set all at once. Now we're going to cover configurable item attributes. In addition to creating the CSM listing records themselves, the listing wizard will automatically create CSM item attributes for the variable attributes that differentiate the children listings. The manner in which listing attributes are presented also differs between parent and children listings. On the CSM listing attribute list, which can be found within a CSM listing, for the parent listing, a separate line will be presented for each configured attribute that is used to define item variations. So as you can see here, we have the DG color and DG size, which have been established and assigned to this configurable item for a dog toy. The attribute value on these lines, however, will remain blank. And as you can see, the attribute value is blank, and that is for the configurable item. The CSM listing attribute list FAS tab on the child listings will include a line for each attribute, as well as the attribute values that are assigned to that particular child. If we revisit our earlier example and using, for example, a t-shirt item and children that vary by color and size, the CSM listing attribute list FAS tab on the parent listing would present separate lines indicating color and size for that listing's configurable attributes. For the child listings, it would also include lines for color size, but the value would be assigned as red, blue, small, medium. And that would be found in the CSM listing attribute list. The CSM listing attribute that are created for configurable attributes are similar to each listing. There are shared item attributes with Magento. Shared attributes are set up through attribute sets, creating attribute sets that can be used to set up item variations. These attributes can be shared between both Business Central item attributes and traditional item attributes. The link type for the item variations can be synchronized with a link option, which assigns the option values for item variants. Now we're going to move to updating the CSM item attribute values. You're going to open the CSM channel record for which you want to update item attribute values. Choose the related ribbon. Then choose listing. Then you're going to choose channel item attributes. Select the CSM item attribute you want to update. Then choose edit. Choose the action ribbon. Then select the data sync menu. Then you're going to choose the sync option values action. Newly added attribute values will be added to the item attribute options FAS tab. For more information on creating item attributes and attribute sets, please view our CSM product documentation on our Suite Engine website. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment on our Suite Engine YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this video.